Okay, so my name is John Black. I am Shellie Black's husband, and I have the privilege and pleasure of introducing her today. In doing so, I want to tell a quick story. She's like, oh no. But several years ago, my buddy and I were kind of into mountain biking a little bit, and we've got some world-class trails here just up in the hills close to us. So he rode over to my house. And then the plan was we were going to head up to the hills in the mountain bike and on the mountain bikes. And Shellie was getting ready to exercise. I didn't know what she was going to do, but anyway, I said goodbye and we took off on our mountain bikes. So about 20 minutes later or so, we are way up in the hills, and we're both just huffing and puffing and out of air. And we were like, you know what, let's take a break. And so we were, taking a break and getting our lungs back, drinking some water and things. And all of a sudden we hear this, "Hi guys." And we look down, and probably, 100 yards away from us, just down the hill just a little bit, is Shellie. And she's running. And she's like, "Oh, hi." It's just like, how cute. I get to see you guys up here. But we looked at each other and we were like, wait, we're on bikes. How did she do that? And it's not like she's huffing and puffing, because she's just enjoying herself, right? And having a great time. So Shellie has always been into health and fitness, and she's been just extremely active, and has always, from when I first met her, taken care of herself. And that's always been a super high priority for her. About 8 or 9 years ago, she was using some face cream and thought it was kind of doing what she wanted it to do. And given that pretty much every area of her life, she was, again, vigilant on making sure she was taking care of herself, or taking care of her body, and making sure that she ate right and proper nutrition, et cetera, et cetera. But then she found out that this face cream she was using had some pretty extreme toxins, and to the point where they caused cancer and all this, just a lot of very harmful damage, not only to her skin, but since the skin is an organ in your body, she felt like, wow, this is really hurting me. And so she went to find a face cream that was pure and natural and things like that, and couldn't find it. So she just started making her own cream. And along the way, she did a lot of research, and then started sharing that with her friends and family, and just saying, here, I made some. But inevitably, over the years, people would come up and say, wow, you have beautiful skin. What are you using on your skin? And whether it was at tennis or at the mall, it seemed like it happened a lot. But people would ask about her skin and what she was using, and she would say, oh, I just make my own, and kind of downplay it. And inevitably, they would want her to make some for them. And she'd go, oh, yeah, sure. And she'd take down their name and address. So she would go home and cook up a batch in the kitchen, and then go on a delivery run. And she would go deliver this face cream, because she's a very kind, generous person. And she just kept doing that over the years. And so about a year and a half ago or so, she had some folks that were getting angry that she was out. Even though they weren't paying for it. And, she had a demand with all these customers. And essentially was kind of like, I can't afford to make this cream anymore. Maybe this could become a business. And so that's when we started kind of working together, and that's what she's going to tell you about today. So without any further ado, I'll turn the time over to her.
Okay. I'm so happy to be with you today. It's interesting. These times are just so interesting, and we have to improvise and do this over the internet, which is, I feel sorry for you guys sitting there, but thank you so much that I actually have someone to talk to. So thanks for being here. I came to SUU about 38 years ago. That's a long time, but I loved it. And I love your campus. I love the teachers were always so wonderful. And it was probably the best college experience I had. I later went to BYU, and that's where I met my husband. And we were married, and, for 30 years, he was an entrepreneur. And I got to see him and kind of be involved in a lot of his companies and businesses, which was really fun for me, especially the creative side of things. So let me get started. And I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I grew up with a dad that was a forest ranger, and he loved the mountains. we lived in the mountains. We went camping and hiking, and most of what we did was outdoors and staying active, and we just loved life that way. So I love physical activity. I love to have fun, and it's important to me to be active and to be able to climb Timpanogos and to do the things that make me happy. And when we moved here, we lived on the East Coast for 17 years. And when we moved here, I took up mountain biking, bought a mountain bike, and we went probably every morning with a bunch of ladies and had the funnest time. I'm like, how can you have so much fun to start your day? And it just changed the way I saw things. And I wanted to stay physically fit and active and be able to do this my whole life. About 7 years ago, I took up tennis, and I've been on a tennis league and absolutely love it. It's like one of the joys in my life. So I want to stay active and stay healthy. I found this quote: "Don't wait to live. This isn't a rehearsal. This isn't a dry run. This isn't a pre-performance rehearsal. This is it. This is your life right now. Don't wait. Savor every minute." One story, I remember being like 12 years old, and I was up in the mountains, and we had just hiked this mountain, and we were running down the trails, and I remember very vividly my legs carrying me down this trail, and I was going super fast up and down, hills and things, and I felt this overwhelming gratitude. And this was at, a very young age, where I am so grateful that I have legs that will carry me down this mountain, that I have a physical body that can help me do these amazing things. And it's interesting because right then I said to myself, I want to take care of myself so that I can always be able to do things like this. It's funny because when I was in my 20s, I think my hardest birthday was when I turned 29, thinking, I'm not going to be in my 20s anymore. I'm going to be 30. And I just felt like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be young forever. And 40 was just like, life is over at 40. And so when my 40th birthday came along, I'm like, you know what? I don't think this is over. I feel just as good as I did when I was, turning 30. So, and now I'm, in my later 50s, and I still feel the same way. I still feel like there's a lot I want to do and a lot that I still can do. So I just feel like age is just a number. So love your life. Be so busy living it the way you want to live it that you don't see the negative. You don't see the drama, the hate, the worry, and the fear. You want to live your life and live it to the best you can. So I share that with my husband. I'm like, I want to do fun things with my husband. He plays tennis with me. We're on a tennis league together. We like to go places, do things. Here we are in Alaska fishing with my dad, who is 84 years old. He's still as active as he ever was. And then my family. I have 3 grandkids and 2 little boys on the way. At the end of the summer, I'll have 5 grandkids, and they are what bring me joy. I had 4 daughters. I grew up with, I had 2 older brothers, and I grew up competing with them and wanting to do exactly what they wanted to do. And then I thought, I'll have all boys. This will be great. Well, I happen to have all girls, and they're very feminine girls, as you can see. But we still did those fun things with them and tried to instill in them the love of nature and the love of being physically fit. Oh yeah, this is my 55th birthday, and what I wanted to do was go up in the mountains and pretty much be with my family. So that's me just this last year. And here we are just doing adventurous things. Yeah, we love to live the abundant life, and it's what brings me joy, gives me passion. I want to stay healthy for my family. I want to be able to take my grandkids up Timpanogos. I want to be the one that does that because I love that, and I want to show them that great adventure. So I found this quote by Dr. Wayne Dyer, and it kind of fits my passion. Honor the physical temple that houses you by eating healthfully, exercising, listening to your body's needs, and treating it with dignity and love. most of my life I've had a garden, so I can have those organic vegetables. I love to make salsa. I love to eat healthy. I've always made homemade bread and just try to instill in my kids the importance of health and eating well. Okay, success. What is success? Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you're doing, you will be successful. So find out what you love to do and do it. Okay, John and I were just in Italy just last month, just before it closed down. We saw this structure throughout Italy. And so I thought I'd use it on what does it take to be an entrepreneur. And with these pillars, I kind of thought of things that would help you become a better entrepreneur and will help you with your business. So the foundation of this, I put passion. So find your passion. And then I just have a little clip. This is from one of my very favorite movies, Serendipity.
You know, the Greeks didn't write obituaries. They only asked one question after a man died. Did he have passion?
So that's an important question to them. Did he have passion? Do you have passion? And what do you have passion for? So look around you, find what are your needs and what are your wants in your life? And what are the needs and wants in those around you? Be observant, take a look at it, and see what it is that people need. Now, what I found years ago, John was telling you about this. I grew up in Beaver, Utah, and one of my neighbors was this amazing lady who was much older than me. In fact, her kids were older than me, but she was so physically fit and beautiful. And I found out later she was a model, but she said, you really need to take care of your skin and start early and wash your face in the morning and at night and just take care of yourself. And so I took that seriously. And, I've always used a moisture cream. The one I was using at the time, about 8 years ago, I looked into it and I found out that there was a lot of harmful things that were in it that were actually doing damage to my skin, and not only to my skin, but to my body. If you look at this, there's some of the things that happens here. There's lots of preservatives, fillers, dyes, and binders that are in your moisture creams. And a lot of them are linked to organ toxicity, muscle control, memory loss. The EPA has concluded that it affects the brain, liver, kidneys are affected by some of these toxins. It has been linked to organ system toxicity and cancer, causes stomach issues, redness, pain, sore throat, and cough. All kinds of crazy things that you would not think it would affect you. But if you think about it, our skin is the largest organ in our body, or on our body. It covers our whole body. And what you put on your skin is absorbed and goes into your blood system. And it does affect you. I remember, and I thought about this, I used to clean hotel rooms when I was a young girl. And I didn't wear gloves. I just thought, scrub these showers, whatever. And afterwards, I'll wash my hands. But I didn't realize that the chemicals that were in those products were actually being absorbed into my body. And I think that's something important for us to remember. So I decided to look for a cream that was all organic, that was all natural. And I could not find one. I couldn't find anything out there that was like that. And I was really surprised. So I researched different oils and their properties, what they did for you. And I found some that were just extremely good for your skin. And I found oils that actually stimulated the blood flow that would activate your collagen. There was one that I use is squalane oil, and it's something that we're born with. And in our late 20s, we kind of lose that. And so I added that will help, keep your skin looking young. There's oils that stimulate cell growth, oils that hydrate your skin, oils that heal your skin. So I found these oils and I started putting them together to form a moisture cream that was actually so healthy for your skin and would do things like keep you young looking. So I put those together in the kitchen and made this cream. And like John had said earlier, I had used it for several years when I would have women come up to me and ask me what I'm using, and they would want some, so I would make it for them. And pretty soon I was making a lot. And these are oils that are very expensive. And pretty soon I was like, oh my gosh, I either need to charge them for this or start a business. And so John and I thought, well, let's try it out. Let's see if we can make a business of this. So what you need to do is be observant, find an opportunity. So what is your opportunity? I know that sometimes we find those opportunities by educating ourselves. I mean, you take classes in college and you find ideas that come from your learning. I know that Steve Jobs, when he was going to college, he took a calligraphy class. And it wasn't until later when he was making his computer, he realized that computers only have one font. And how cool would it be to have several fonts that people could choose from? And he remembered this calligraphy class and he thought, okay, I'm going to put these ideas into my job, into my product. So sometimes, through our education, we find opportunities, or there's lots of ways we find our opportunities, but this is the way I found mine. So it's not the ideas, it's about making them happen. We need to take that first step. I remember when we were first married, John he's very creative and he had so many ideas, and we didn't do anything about a lot of them. And pretty soon we would see his idea as a product. And we thought, we should have taken that first step and made that happen. So take that first step. Sometimes we don't always see the whole picture, but if we just take that first step, then we can take another and it'll help. So once we have an idea, we need to gain as much information about that as we can, put this product together like I did. I used this cream for a long time before I started sharing it. And I tried it out on my daughters and my mom first, and my sisters, had them try it and see what they liked and what they didn't like about it. And at the time, my cream was pretty hard. It was more of something you would use your nail to get out, and then you would heat it up in your hands and then put it on your face. Well, my mom said, this just won't do. I won't use this. And so I went back to the drawing board. I'm like, okay, I can make this a little creamier. What can I do? And so I added a few oils that would make it creamier, and I worked on it until I got the formula just right, took it back to her, and I said, try it now, see what you think. And she loved it. So this is kind of what we need to do. We need to take it to the customer and adjust it to their needs, and then take it back to the customer, see how they like it, and continue this until we get the product or the service that we want and that they would want. Then we need to learn from our failures. I know I had many failures. I think that one of them was that it was so hard and I had to figure out a way to make it better. And you know what? We don't always consider those failures. I think there's just one step to a better product. I know that Thomas Edison is always used as an example of failure, but really he did not see it that way at all. He saw each time he failed, so to speak, he thought, I'm just one step closer to knowing what to do. And so he looked at it that way, and that's kind of the way we need to see it. And so I started out with my product. We named it Shellie Ann. My daughters were like, everything is a name now. Every dress they bought is a name of someone. Their products, it's kind of the trend. So they said, you need to name it your name. And I'm like, okay, and then I realized that, it really didn't tell the story or tell anything about what my product is. And so we kind of went back to the drawing board and we said, okay, as a brand, what does Shellie Ann mean? It really didn't mean anything. So, did I see this as a failure? No, I actually saw it as a stepping stone to something better. So back to the drawing board. What makes my product unique? So I wanted to look at that to see, okay, how can we name it? So what made it unique? Well, first of all, clean, all natural, pure ingredients. Everything was 100% organic. And second of all, it's a night cream. It works long into the night. And the reason why it was a night cream, and I saw this kind of as a glitch as well, it's very greasy. So you don't want to use it during the day, but it's greasy because it's 100% oils. if we added water or alcohol to it to alleviate that, we would need binders and fillers, and that's not what I wanted. So yes, it is greasy. So it is a night cream. It works all night long. So we thought about maybe names that we could come up with, and we did a lot of brainstorming. I mean, some of these are really, I mean, we just brainstormed and put things down, but we kind of landed on 3 that we liked. And so we took those 3 and we took them to our customer. So Night Glow is one of them, anti-aging face balm. We called it a face balm because it's not creamy like normal creams, because it is all natural. So Night Glow is one, Rewind is another, and Lunaire. And so we took those 3 to the public and we like, what do you like? What do you think works? And hands down, it was Lunaire. And we came up with a logo. We decided with a moon and a drop of oil to represent my product. And there's 3 different ones, and this is kind of the one that we landed on. So let's see. So what I've learned through all of this is that you need to be patient and stay positive. You know, this has taken us, over a year to get to where we are. And I'm sure we could have done it a little bit faster, but it does take a lot longer than you expect it to really take off. And we still have a road in front of us. And I think that's why Tyler asked me to speak, is because I'm right in the middle of it. And I know a lot of you are too. So stay positive, be patient. This is, your plan. This is what we plan. And this is really reality. And what a ride. I know that John has started so many companies and we've gone through so many ups and downs, and truly, but that's living life, that's part of life. And really, I remember getting married, and this was my plan. The top one was my plan. This is how my life was going to go. I was going to have, so many kids and so many years apart, and this is what I was going to do with my life. And reality is, plan to be surprised. That's like my favorite saying, plan to be surprised. It's not going to be the way you planned it. Life isn't like that. Resilience. It also takes resilience. What is the definition of resilience? It's a material's ability to resume its shape and position after being bent, stretched, and compressed. We use this word to describe our ability to bounce back and to continue on. I think as an entrepreneur, you need this because it's not going to turn out the way you want it to. In fact, you might have a completely different product than what you started with, or a completely different idea. You need to be able to be resilient. I like this, Mike Tyson. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Anyway, stick with a plan, do your best, and know that it's going to be different than what you started with. And then Steve Jobs, I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance. So you can persevere through all of this. So the main ideas of my cream are 2 things: clean ingredients and magic overnight. That's what we've come up with. And so this is kind of our style guide. Our mission is all natural and highly effective. We wanted to solve this problem where there's no skincare that is all 100% organic and 100% good for you, that didn't have those nasty chemicals and binders and fragrances and fillers and things like that. The solution is they're natural and it really works. Okay, what's my audience? What's my group that I sell to? People basically like me, I guess, who want something healthier. So we're looking at women in their 50s and 60s who, are starting to age. They want to look a little younger. Women who are in their 40s, 30s, 40s, who are like all of a sudden, I'm not going to be young forever like you think you are. And then men of all ages who care about their appearance and what they look like. These are just some of the things that we don't put in our product. We want to stay away from all of those. So resilience. The next one is vision. You need to keep your vision throughout this whole process. Passion plus vision equals success. And so remember your passion. Keep that passion with you as you go forth with your vision, and you will be successful. My vision is to help others look and feel as young on the outside as they do on the inside. I wanted to help them regain their confidence and their youthful zest for life. And this is the product that I ended up with. So it's Lunaire Anti-Aging Night Balm with essential oils. It's clean ingredients and magic overnight. And here we've got my logo. And this is kind of the product that I've ended up with. So we still have a road to go to get it out there. But we feel pretty good about what we came up with, Lunaire. And so there you have it. Do you have any questions?
Shellie, thank you so much. I do want everybody who has the chance to, well, first of all, make sure you unmute yourself before you ask a question. And I'll just jump in and ask you, and I know the answer, which is why I want you to talk about this. Besides anti-aging, what other kind of properties or problems does the Lunaire affect?
Okay. Because of this type of oils that I put into this, it's also very healing. It will actually help eliminate eczema and dry skin. I actually use it as a neosporin because it heals things like none other. If you have dry hands, I put it on my hands at night. It just helps them stay young. Elbows, things like that. Scars, any kind of sores that you have, it helps them heal a lot faster. It's very healing as well. And so it's just a really great cream. If you have acne, it'll get rid of your acne, which you would think putting oil on acne, that doesn't make sense. But I've researched this, and a lot of acne is because your skin is so dry. And so if you do try this, it's got the healing oils in it, and it will eliminate that dryness and help them. Good question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else?
We have a question. We have a couple of questions for you. How do you plan on selling it? Like, are you going to have a website? Do you want to have it in retail stores? And how much do you sell them for?
Okay, that's a good question. We are going to sell it online. First of all, we're going to go through like Instagram, Facebook, and do social media. And that's kind of the avenue that we're looking at right now. So we're going to try that first and see how it goes. As far as the price goes, we have not quite landed on the price. We're thinking it's a high end with high expensive oils, but we want to keep it affordable for the normal person. So we're still kind of playing around with that.
Mind if I just mention one thing on your question about how we're selling? So it just boils down to the online advertising in social media. So it's really just, it's all about the data. And if we can get the numbers to say for every $1 that we spend on social media ads, we get $3 back, then we can cover our expenses and have a profit. And so we're going to just be working, and it's going to be all about the analytics. And we'll just kind of hone in until we get that. You know, we may start with a $1 spent and only 50 cents back, but ultimately that's what we want to get to is $1 spent, $3 back. And once we have that, in other words, we can do that with not a whole lot of money. But once we've hit those targets, then we can spend more and more money knowing that we've got it at that point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Thanks.
Where are you at in the manufacture process? Like, do you have a manufacturer, or like, where are you at with that?
Good question. Right now, I'm doing it out of my kitchen. So, but yes, as soon as we start launching this, we've got a manufacturer that we're going to be working with. We've got our jars. It's really interesting because the jar situation, we're getting them from China, and because of what happened, we've had quite a delay. But they started working with us again. Things are really picking up in China, and we're able to communicate with them. And we've got a jar that we love, which is the one you saw. And they're going to be able to put the label on the top and also put the logo around the side. So we're really excited about that. That just happened just recently. So we're still, kind of working through this. But yeah, thank you. Good question.
So I have a question for you, Shellie.
Sure.
First of all, I just have to say, I just I think you're absolutely amazing. And I've thought that since the first day I met you.
Oh, thank you.
It's like, I was telling my sister who I was going to be listening to today, and she was like, oh, is this the same lady that made an impact on you in the first like couple weeks of your semester? And I was like, yeah. But my question for you goes along those same lines of, you seem like a very positive person and you found your passions in life that help you pick yourself up. But when you get in those ruts where you're just not sure where you're going to go next and how you're going to make it happen, what do you do? Maybe even if it's personally or if it's on the business side, what do you do to get yourself moving again?
That's a really good question, because I think everyone, no matter how positive you are, I think you have really down times. And I think that you need to find what helps you get out of that rut, what it is that can motivate you to get over that little hump of maybe depression or feeling, dark feelings where you just need to get out of that. So it's important to have little triggers that help you. What is it that brings you the most happiness? And if it's eating ice cream, then do it. Find those little things that help you get over that hump. And for me, it's activity, because nothing helps me more than playing tennis or getting on my bike or taking a walk. Just being outside lifts my spirits so much. When I stay inside, I know here we are confined to our homes, so this is really a tough time, I think, for a lot of people. I know my daughter in Texas, they cannot leave their house. They are mandated to stay home for 10 days, just like they did in Italy. And so I don't know if we're going to come to lockdown here like that, but she's got a little 3-year-old. And it's driving her crazy because she can't get outside. And it's just really hard. She's pregnant and she's going through the blues. It's like, I can't see anyone. She hasn't seen a single person for at least 5 days now. And that can be really challenging. And so you've got to find the positives in your situation. I know being confined to your house, what can you do to keep yourself happy and busy? Well, for me, I love it because I can read my favorite books that I've been wanting to read. I'm a very active person, and so I don't take the time to do things like that. I love to sew and quilt, and so I can take that time to do. There are things that I find that I can do in my house that will keep me happy. And of course, we are able to go outside here in Utah. We can go outside and take a walk, but find those things that will lift your spirits, because we all have those down days. So thank you.
Thank you.
Shellie,
If I could jump in with it. Oh, go ahead, Christina.
I'm just wondering if you're required to go through any kind of testing with a product like this, allergy testing, or I don't know what other testing they may do for skincare, but anything like that, that's a requirement for you to put it out there before selling to.
That's a good question, but no, you don't. It's not required. That's kind of a scary thing, I know.
Yeah.
Because what are you using, And I have experimented so much with this. I've had too much of a certain oil that has caused me to swell or to have a red face. And I know, okay, this is not good. I need to cut back on this, even though it's a really great oil, really great for your skin. I have tried and tested it to where I've got it down to where it needs to be. But no, there isn't.
Okay.
Can I ask a follow-up question to that?
Sure.
Are you planning to do like more kinds of the same thing? So like, for example, I'm allergic to lavender. Like anything lavender is a no-go for me. So what if somebody's allergic to some of those oils? Do you plan to have other types of creams with different oils?
Yeah, I'm happy to get feedback from you. And you can't have lavender. I put lavender in my product. I could do a batch or two without that and say, no lavender or whatever. But I'm also planning on doing a body cream and a healing cream, one that is just meant for healing skin. So yeah, I will have a couple more things to add to my line. But yeah, I'm always open to things like that. So.
I was going to ask, well, first of all, I want to compliment you. I think that the product is outstanding. The Blacks gave my wife a sample and it's outstanding. Your graphics and the visual look of your product and the container, I think, are also just really beautiful. I just think that is really, really good looking. But the question I wanted to ask you, Shellie, and maybe John a little bit too, whenever you do something you've never done before, you end up getting stretched in ways that you hadn't anticipated. And so I wonder if you could talk about ways that this has challenged you that you didn't anticipate, and maybe that same question to John. Where have you seen Shellie grow as a function of starting her own company?
Do you want me to go first?
Yes.
Or you go first?
Go ahead.
So, I mean, I think it boils down to this has just taken a lot longer than either of us ever anticipated. And yet, because of my background, I knew that it was going to take longer. I knew that it was going to be much longer than she thought it would be. But I mean, between, the Chinese New Year and then shortly thereafter, we thought we had all the packaging done, and turns out, oh, guess what? And all the plants are closed, and there's a pandemic in China. And I mean, that's just one example, but there have been many like that where we just had to pivot. And Tyler, we've talked a lot about the zigzag principle. You get to a certain point, and then you zig, and then you zag, and then you zig and zag. And each time that's happened, your question was about Shellie and how she has kind of seen things. Actually, I think it helps her to have a little more empathy for me in my career, because my career was, I mean, she's the angel. It was tough. It was not the way I wanted it to go. I had some big failures and some decent successes, but along the way, she just trusted that it would all be okay. And I always really appreciated that. I think now she's kind of seen, wow, it does take a lot more than I thought, right? And she can kind of look back and say, oh, that's why this happened, or that's why it took so long. And so when she gives this presentation and says, learn from your failures and be patient and stay positive, because it will take longer, that's from experience, really, right? Yeah. Not just from, I mean, we've been partners all along, but she's kind of experiencing that for herself. And I think that's really good, both professionally and personally, because I don't know, I think we can be hard on other people sometimes. And I think when we kind of see that we can't control everything, it softens us a little bit. And I think that can go into lots of different aspects of our lives.
Mm-hmm. Be a little more understanding and patient. Yes, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for letting us be with you today.
Well, if there's no other questions, we should wrap this up.
All right. Well, we appreciate the opportunity to talk to you today, and I think your program is amazing, Tyler, and we wish you all success in all that you do.
Thank you all for joining us. Be in touch soon.